Everybody, let me just get the presentation on the screen and we'll get started in a couple minutes when everybody comes in.
Hi, Kari. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing? I guess, well, we were waiting for people to come in, so in the meantime, to not spend it in silence.
Yeah, I've been good. My dog is doing better.
Yay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good to hear. That's really good to hear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Always scaring us, right?
Um,
The bendiciones.
Huh?
Y son las bendiciones. So
Sí, sí.
you're always scaring us, right? All right, so let's see. Dun, 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 dun. I was worried for a second this wasn't the correct link because we got here like 5 minutes early and there's only me and Adriana, and I was like, uh-oh,
Can
is
you
this
guys
the
see
right
the
link?
presentation?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Let me change the name of the link. Oh my god, that was my fault. I didn't know if we were gonna use the same one or different one. Okay, let me change the name real quick.
In the meantime, if you guys could sign in, that'd be cool.
What's wrong with the name of the link? Is there?
Sorry.
So how often do you have these meetings?
We have these meetings, usually if it's a regular year, we would have them bi-weekly, but because we want to give everybody a break this year, we've transitioned them to once a month, so one every Monday, one Monday for every month.
Okay. And I was really busy last week, so I couldn't schedule an appointment with Heber.
You're completely fine. It was just to run you through like some like practice questions or get some idea, but we're it's all good.
Okay. So are they what's in El Concilio? Are there a lot of different majors? What type of audience are we having today?
So I know the majority is not engineering majors, which is why I thought it was really cool to have both of you, because both of you are related to engineering in one way or another. And I think both of you have some degree in some type of engineering, right? I mean, Myra, of course, aerospace, and then Kari. So it's just, I think this year I'm the one with the engineering degree. I don't know if there's any other engineering degrees. I know sometimes we have like a representative from SHIP here. So I know, Myra, SHIP is your thing. So sometimes people join in from all over the place, but I think we have like all kinds of majors here. Is that right, Naomi? We have pretty much everything, any Latino.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, yes. So we'll, as soon as like we do the sign in and they'll have like some announcements for the organization, then we'll get started too. the career panel thing, but first like announcements and all that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll wait just a couple more minutes. In the meantime, please sign in. And how, like Evan mentioned, we'll first start off with El Concilio and university updates. And then we have a guest for you guys to meet. Some individuals from the Chicano Latino Faculty Staff Association will come and join us and introduce themselves and, share a little bit about what they do here at ASU. And then we'll move into our career panel session of the meeting. That'll be facilitated by our finance director, Everett, about, diversity of STEM. So that will be our meeting for today.
So this question is to Naomi. This is Abraham from CLFSA. Is that form you were talking about a minute ago? Is that something that you want us to sign in as well, or is that just for you guys?
That's just for students. You don't have to sign in.
Okay, just making sure.
So we'll go ahead and go get started. Anybody who will come in, trickle in late. So yeah. So I'm happy Monday to everybody. I hope you guys are having a good start to your week. If not, there's still four more days for it to get better. So yeah, as mentioned before, we'll start off with some updates that we have and some stuff that we want to share. Then we'll move into introducing CFLSA, and then we'll end off with the career panel. And then for our member org representatives at the end, we'll have an open floor for you to share any information with all of us. So yeah, just to, to introduce myself, if you guys haven't seen me before, I haven't been to an El Concilio meeting. My name is Naomi Rosales. I'm the president/facilitator of El Concilio. And El Concilio is a student coalition that represents the interests and needs of the Hispanic Latinx community here at ASU. By doing that, we put on events, we create resources, we talk with the administration to, really find those gaps and resources that don't exist at the university, and find ways that we can, add that, whether that be events, talking to different professors, departments, or even bringing in outside organizations to come into ASU to, provide resources. So if you have not, please sign in. So you can just take your phone and pull up your camera, and it'll take you directly to the link for you to sign in. Or if not, there's the link in the chat. So starting off, so as mentioned before, El Concilio meetings have been moved to once a month. So this is our second one of the semester, and then we'll have two more left on March 22nd and April 12th. They're about 3 weeks apart from each other. So you can put those in your calendar. It'll be the same link as for today, just to stay consistent. And then another quick update is the El Concilio newsletter. So El Concilio sends out a newsletter bi-weekly, which you receive on Mondays, the day, so today, for example. In our newsletter, we provide, updates about our events, not only at Concilios, but other ones going around campus. We include job opportunities, internship opportunities, and then, just share any information. So if you're interested in signing up for the newsletter or even sending us stuff for you to sign up, to send to us for us to include in the newsletter, feel free to reach out to us, to our Secretary Carolina, our Marketing Director Jared, that are here at this meeting. And I'm also including the link in the chat for you to directly put your email in so you guys can start receiving the newsletter. So is there any questions so far? No, thank you. Our next El Concilio update is, as the semester is coming to an end, we are looking for new people to fill in positions for the El Concilio Executive Board. So just last week, our application opened for the Executive Board for 2021, 2022. And so we're looking for people to apply. All positions are open, from president to vice president to marketing secretary. All positions are open, and they close on March 15th. So we have about a couple weeks. So if you're interested or have any questions about what, each of these positions entail, feel free to reach out. And if you do if you're interested in planning, applying or running for president or vice president, just to keep in mind that these are voted in positions. So you'll just give a presentation to our general body meeting. So at our next meeting, you would give a presentation here just about, about you and why you want to become the president. And then will be voted on by, the rest of the member organizations that are part of our coalition. And then another update we have is we have also our application open for organizations on campus that want to be a part of El Concilio. So El Concilio is comprised of like 20 plus organizations that are Hispanic / Latinx based, and we're always looking for some new members. So I know that there's always, new and upcoming organizations that start on campus on campuses. And so if you're a part of one or anyone that is, part of a new organization, I invite them to be a part of the coalition, and they'll attend our meetings. They'll be able to access some of the resources that we're able to give to our member organizations. And so I encourage you guys to share this with them. This is an open application to all campuses, and it's also a rolling one, so it never really closes. As soon as you apply, we'll get in contact with all of them. So yeah, please feel free to share with everybody. Does anybody have any questions about either of these two? Thank you. Moving on. So as mentioned at our previous meeting, El Concilio is starting a Spanish translation committee, and we've already had our first meeting so far. And so this committee is really dedicated to identifying certain resources here at ASU that we think should be available in Spanish and also other languages, that is vital to not only student success, but also like student acceptance. For example, the ASU website, you cannot be accessed in multiple languages, so it'll be really hard for Spanish speaking parents to come onto the website, maybe wanting to learn about ASU. The parent portal for ASU is not available in multiple languages, so to be more inclusive to everybody. So this is sort of the purpose of this translation committee, and we're looking for students to join so we can, have a university-wide committee that can keep on going and, identifying certain things at ASU that is vital for our success to be translated. And I invite you all to come share with your friends. You can just, again, pull out your phone and scan the QR code, and it'll take you to an interest form. You just put down your name and your email, and then our second meeting will be next week. So if you're interested, please sign up. And then we also have a finance committee, which our finance director, Edward, can share a little bit more about.
Yeah, so we are creating a new finance committee, and actually today is one of the first meetings for the finance committee. We're going to be talking about budgeting, which is sort of like the foundation to financial literacy. Before we can talk about stonks this way, stonks, save, other than saving, investing, just general practices, retirement and all that, you got to start somewhere. So you start with the very foundations, which is budgeting, tracking your money coming in and out. So that will be the day right after our general body meeting, so at 6 p.m. And if you are interested, I will send out the Google form as soon as I'm done to the chat so that you can sign it. It'll give me your email so I could send you like updates of the finance committee or the link to the meetings and so on and so forth. And after today, we'll be meeting weekly on a weekly basis to sort of put out infographics and the things that we learned, sort of like if we learn about budgeting, we'll put some information together, put it on social media so that everybody else can learn about budgeting. So that's it for the finance committee. Feel free to message me or anything like that if you are interested.
Yeah, thank you again. Again, if you're interested, feel free to reach out to Emmett or also stay after the meeting because we'll, join Emmett after the meeting because we'll be having their first meeting, talking about finance and budgeting, which I think, is essential to our community and, life after college. So does anybody have questions about any of these? And then to the question in the chat, yeah, I know some people have been interested and there hasn't been any communication out for the Spanish translation meeting just because we got a little bit busy, but later this week we'll be sending out a when to meet so we can meet next week and, keep this committee going. Moving on to our next updates. So we'll be moving on to some general university updates. So that was all for Ed Concilio specific. If you have any questions or want to look back on it after this meeting, our secretary will share the agenda with you all so you guys can actually click the link and read a little bit more. So some university updates we have for you. So this week is the graduate school and school diversity fair, which is essentially just a fair to learn about, how about graduate school, what it is, how to apply, the best methods to, write those papers and stuff like that. And so it's about 3 days and, it encourages, students from marginalized communities to learn more about graduate school and what it entails. So I encourage you all to, if you are seniors or even know you want to apply to graduate school, I highly recommend you attend these events throughout the week. And if you pull out your phone and scan the QR code, it'll take you to the website where you can see all the different events they'll have. So maybe you only want to go to some specific workshops or events for this graduate fair. I encourage you all to do so. And then I wanted to share a little bit more about TRIOs, the student support services. And so this helps students, receive academic support, mentoring, financial guidance and stuff like that throughout ASU. And there's a lot of different workshops and resources that you could get from TRIO. And I highly encourage you guys to look over these or maybe even attend some of these workshops to help you during your time here at ASU. There's different eligibilities and also the link to join. And then I know they're always constantly looking for people to, hire as tutors and stuff like that. So I encourage you guys to check out TRIO services. And then I want to introduce you guys and meet and share with you guys, and so you guys have the opportunity to meet the Chicano Latino Faculty and Staff Association here at ASU. And I invited them all here today to, share a little bit more about themselves and what they do, and because they really wanted to meet the students. So I'll hand it off to Sandra to explain a little bit more about CLFSA.
Thank you, Naomi. Hi, everyone. My name is Sandy Martinez. I am the president of the Chicano Latino Faculty and Staff Association here at ASU. So before I move forward, I'd like to introduce my colleagues that join me today. I'll actually have them introduce themselves, and then they'll share a little bit about our scholarship, and then I'll circle back to all about CLFSA. So Abraham?
So hello, everyone. My name is Abraham Pino. I work at ASU as a project manager, so I'm staff, so all the construction that you see on the campus, I'm part of that. What I do for CLFSA is a student liaison. So I work with our scholars to help them throughout the year, finding the mentors, activities that they could be involved with, et cetera, so that they could be successful in their education here at ASU. And it's not just me, I'm partnered with Elizabeth Vasquez, who could tell you more about the program and herself. So.
Thank you, Abraham. Hi, everybody. I'm Elizabeth Vasquez. I see a familiar face on here, Carrie Rosas. Hello. I used to work with Carrie and the Si Se Puede Foundation. So small world, friends. That was, you know, even just as an undergrad. So just know that it's a full circle, even after you graduate. Hello. Yeah, so I work with Access ASU, my daytime job. So we serve our K through 12th grade students and families. So we have tons of programming in English and Spanish. It was really cool that you guys started the Spanish Translation Committee. Just side note, that is awesome. It's been how many years we've been trying to get something like that started. I graduated from ASU in 2016. And then in 2019, I went back to get my master's. You'll get caught up in the loop, guys. It happens, you'll come back. So I work with Access ASU. And like Abraham shared, I'm also a liaison for our Laura Rendon Scholarship Program. So this scholarship program was named after Laura Rendon. She was a professor here at ASU for 8 years, and then she moved to Texas. She's still a professor out there. I got to meet her in person, which was really awesome. But like Abraham shared, this scholarship supports guides and supports 5 students every school year. And so we provide mentorship and just more of a guide as they continue their ASU journey. And so the scholarship program did close, the scholarship for next year for fall of 2021-22 did close already, but we'd love to learn of opportunities where we can collaborate, where we can even co-host maybe an event on campus, or maybe participate or help you guys with an event where our students could be part, you know, of just programming in general. So happy to be here and to meet everybody.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Abraham. So my day job, I work in the College of Health Solutions. So I'm the manager of administrative operations and staff success. So I oversee all of college administrative operations on the executive level and on the administrative level. And I also oversee employee engagement, onboarding, professional development, and special projects for the Dean's Office. But with CLFSA, I am so very proud to be president of CLFSA. This is an organization that was founded in 1970. It was founded out of social protest against unjust employment practices targeting Mexican, American, and Black workers. They were known as the laundry strikes. 5 years later, CLFSA held a press conference to call attention to discriminatory practices against Mexican Americans. So that's when the ASU affirmative action policies were addressed and were changed. And after that, you know, we instilled a lot of great positive change, a lot of great community. You know, it's really amazing that we have CLFSA. Our mission is to make sure that we're a voice for the Chicano Latino faculty and staff, that we are making sure that administration is aware of the needs of our population here on campus, and that we're also making sure that we're doing the best we can to build the pipeline for Chicano Latino students. So it's a wonderful community. It's a sense of familia on campus. A couple of highlights about CLFSA. You know, we were part of the implementation of the Chicano Research Collection, also with MECHA being established. There's actually quite a few organizations that came before CLFSA. So all the way back to 1916, we have El Club Hispánico, 1922, El Club Español, 1923, Los Hidalgos del Desierto, 1937, Los Conquistadores, and 1938, La Liga Panamericana. So all of those organizations came before CLFSA and paved the way for us to start this wonderful community on campus. So throughout the 50 years, we actually have been part of, like I mentioned before, the affirmative action, you know, the student organizations, the ASU Hispanic Convocation. We launched, as Elizabeth shared, the Laura Rendon Scholarship. Just last year, we celebrated the 20th anniversary of that scholarship. We are also embedded in the university with strategic planning. And then in 2019, we launched Cultivating Latinx Líderes at ASU. So it's part of our spring series where we host a panel of university Latino leaders so that you can learn from them and figure out, how they navigated their, whether it was a faculty role or their leadership role on campus. So it's really, really awesome, just so you all can get a sense of the different positions and careers that you can have in the university. And one thing I want to highlight that is really, really important, there's very little of us in the university. Nationwide, there's only about 5 to 6% of Chicanos and Latinos in higher education. And that's not even at upper level administration, that's at very mediocre level. So it's really important for us to make sure not only that our students get here to campus and have an education, but also that we are also moving up in university administration. We're represented, that you have faculty that look like you, that understand you, that can build the programming that you need. So that's really what drives our Cultivating Latinx Líderes, is we want to make sure that we have resources and that we're growing and building each other. So really, really awesome series that we have. Another thing too, like this year with the pandemic, we were faced with a lot of social and racial injustice issues. So for us, the main goal and mission actually for us was to make sure that we were inclusive, that we were building collaborations and partnerships. Naomi and I, and also Esmeralda, had an opportunity to connect, and we're going to be meeting with President Cruz so we can share the needs of the students as well as faculty and staff. But through this whole unprecedented times, we also work together with our Faculty Women of Color Caucus. We work together with the African and African American Faculty and Staff Association. We also work together on El Voto Latino. What is the vote? What is the vote? Why is it important for us to vote? We also worked very closely with the Provost Office for Equity and Inclusion to make sure that they're aware of what we're doing, what intentional program we have set out. So this year we have our main theme is Abriendo Puertas. So for us is making sure that we're advancing as much as we can this year. Not only for the celebration of the 50th anniversary, but you all are all the reason why we're here. We're doing the best that we can to raise money for scholarships. So we are going to be hosting a virtual gala for CLFSA to raise additional money for the Laura Rendon Scholarship. And hopefully that'll allow us to increase the number of scholarships that we give every year. For our scholars, I know Liz touched a little bit about it, but one thing that's really awesome is that the scholars get to become part of the CLFSA community. They get paired with a mentor. They get invited to opportunities where they can engage with university administration in different exclusive events. In addition to that, some of the programmings that we do on an annual regular basis is we have a welcome reception at Kevin Salcido's home, which is our VP of HR. We have a holiday drive to help a local underprivileged Head Start class. We also have networking socials. We also have, during critical times, we have special programming working with university leadership, like I just mentioned. So it's just a really, really incredible organization that we're happy to be part of, that we want you to know that we're here for you. As you're, starting off your leadership career on campus and you get stuck on an idea, you get stuck on resources or anything like that, come to us. Liz shared the website for CLFSA, so get to know us, come to the general meetings. We're here for you. We're here to be your voice. We're here to be able to help faculty, understand you and be there. If we need to connect you with resources, we're happy to do that. But overall, the goal of today, and I want to thank Naomi for extending the invitation, is that we want you to know that we exist, that we're working very, very hard on building community and building representation. A few things that I want to highlight to leave you with is, we ended the year really, really strong. Like I mentioned, there's very little of us here at not only ASU, but nationwide in upper administration. But, we had 3 trailblazing positions that are now held by Latinas. So CLFSA had the honor to submit the nomination for Nancy Gonzalez. So she is now our provost of the university, which is really, really awesome. So she'll be starting her term pretty soon. We also, Maria Anguiano, I don't know if many of you have heard of ASU Local, but she's kind of like the force to be reckoned with in higher education, building a hybrid type of research model for communities, mainly communities of color, because they're creating a lot of access by, I'll just tell you a little bit about it. So they have online classes for students, but we take the resources on campus. So we have a campus for them in LA, and it's really awesome. And they're going to be building a lot of ASU local sites all over the nation, including Arizona. And there's going to be an announcement pretty soon on the next location. But Maria Anguiano, because of that work and all the effort that she's doing to increase access for communities of color, she is now the vice president of ASU Learning Enterprise. Again, another really important position. And then we also can't forget Tiffany Lopez. She's the vice provost of equity and inclusion. These are 3 trailblazing women that are in positions that have never been held by a Latina. So it's really, we ended in a really awesome note last year. But with that said, we're here for you. We exist, we have a lot of great programming, check out our website, learn a little bit more about us. If you have questions, I'm always a Slack away, an email away, but I'm here, happy to be a resource. I know Liz and Abraham are also happy to answer any questions. They're amazing at their student liaison role, and we have a number of other advisors and e-board members that are well connected with the ASU community and our external community, but we definitely want to express our commitment to your success and appreciation for being leaders on campus. It's so amazing. It takes a lot and a lot of courage and a lot of time management, and you have a lot going on, but I just want you to know that we appreciate you. It's extraordinary times that we're going through right now. So it's good to see the engagement here. It's good to see what you're doing. Just to end, you're talking about the Spanish Translation Committee. I mean, that is so important. I'm in conversations right now with Univision. We're going to be partnering with them with CLFSA to host our gala. So it's really, really exciting. But in addition to that, related to the Spanish Translation Committee, their VPs of Univision, they're doing the best that they can to inform our Spanish language speaking community. So we're partnering with them to do a vaccine town hall and PSA for our Spanish language community. And some of the things that we told the ASU VP of media is that they want the icons, like all of the ASU icons for the vaccine and the little things that you could put on your Instagram and all that, they want all that translated into Spanish. So you guys are already thinking of that, right? And we're just starting to do that. But anyhow, thank you for allowing us this space, Naomi, to introduce CLFSA, and we hope to see you at the meetings. I shared with Naomi that we're happy to help with your spring conference. We're happy, we are granting 5 minutes consistently in our executive board. So Naomi can bring up any concerns or any ideas or anything like that to us. So we're formalizing our relationship, and I look forward for what's to come with that. So thank you.
Thank you, Sandra, and thank you to CLFSA for coming to our meeting and introducing yourself and sharing a little bit more about what you do. I encourage you guys all to, click on that website of the CLFSA and learn more about them. You probably might see a professor you had that's actually part of CLFSA, so I encourage you guys to learn a little bit more, to reach out. Any member orgs on here, feel free to reach out, talk about collaboration and potential partnerships. So yeah, this is a really good outlet for us to have here at ASU. to know that, you know, there is advocacy and representation beyond students here at ASU. So it's really important. So thank you again for coming to our meeting. And moving on to the second half of our meeting, we'll move into our career panel that's going to be facilitated by our finance director, Evid, and, you know, introduce some guests and, you know, have the opportunity to learn about, you know, STEM and other stuff like that. So take it away, Evan.
All right, so I wanted to build off of what Sandra was talking about, because I think it's mind-boggling how underrepresented we minorities can be. And I was looking at some statistics a few weeks ago, and if we were to combine Hispanics, Alaskan natives, Native Americans, and people of color, we can make a little, so sneering like a third of the population. But in STEM and science field, we only make up about like less than 10%. And that is just mind blowing. I think it's we will do better, and things are changing now. We're taking we're turning the tables, right? And so I think, at least for me, going in as a first generation student, I came here without really. I've never met an engineer before I came to college, which was kind of you know, wherever you're raised and the environment that you're raised, it sort of like sets the stage for what you're going to do later in life. So if you're not raised with like a great education with a strong STEM foundational background and so on, then you're not going to know what's out there in terms of STEM. And so one of the first engineers I met was actually Myra, and she's a systems engineer at Honeywell. And we also have another one who I think these panels are just so impressive and so inspirational. And so I'm very excited to have him on here. And so we could start with Myra. Myra, you could first introduce yourself. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go to you, Kari. So Myra, you could go ahead and take it away and tell us about you.
Thanks, Evan. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I've heard a lot about El Concilio, but I never really like knew what it was about. I had just had a vague idea. But as Evan mentioned, my name is Mayra Garcia. I actually went to U of A, so I went to the other school, but I was born and raised in Phoenix, so I came back home, and I've been working with ASU through the SHIP organization, so the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, for a little over 7 years now. So I've been very involved with the ASU community. I also actually was a project mentor for the ASU Epics group. So I actually had my own ASU email and my own ASU like name tag. So I feel like we're friends. But as Evan mentioned, I am a systems engineer. I graduated with a degree in aerospace engineering, but transitioned over to systems engineering. And I'll talk a little bit more about my role, but I've done a lot of work with the flight controls. So anything related to moving the aircraft surfaces. And I currently work on aircraft engines. And yeah, I'm secretary of the SHIP Phoenix chapter, and we do a lot of community outreach and a lot of mentoring. So I feel like I'm a great fit for this panel. I'm excited to learn more and to network with Gadi and all of you.
Thank you, Myra. It's always wonderful to hear from you. And anytime I see like your name or I see you being involved in SHIP, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's my mentor. There's this one person I look up to. So it's really awesome to learn about you. And of course, we'll go more in depth about sort of like your position, what you do, and sort of how far you've come to be a woman in engineering with a degree and in the industry. That's awesome. But let's introduce our next panelist, Karime Rosas. And Kari, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Carrie. I go by Carrie. I'm from Mexico City, born and raised. I came here as an international student to go to ASU. And I did chemical engineering with a minor in material science and engineering. And then I got a master's in biomedical engineering. My thesis was very focused on biomaterials and polymer chemistry. And then after I graduated, I worked at a startup for a little while. And then I met Mr. E, who, if you don't know him, he's the president and CEO of the CCP Foundation. I started volunteering with them, and he really liked me. So he brought me aboard and he created a position for me. So now I am the vice president of STEM diversity at the CCP Foundation. In the beginning, my role was mostly fundraising and creating connections with different members of the community so that we could fund our robotics programs. And we also have a few other programs like we have one where we teach 8th grade girls Arduino, and then they get to take their Arduino robot home so that they can keep learning about it on their own. I created a program to introduce 9th graders to SAT prep. So now I have 9th graders doing SAT problems in math every week since last August. And then we also created a partnership with the New Jersey Institute of Technology where they get to learn about different paths that they could take in health careers, like not just medicine, but also like biomedical engineering and how that pairs with ethics and all of those things. I am also an entrepreneur. I have a company, it's called Butter Lotion, if you want to look it up. It's going really well so far. I'm really excited about the things to come. It's basically, you know how there's so much greenwashing out there on clean ingredients and good for the environment type of things. So I took it a step above and got rid of all chemicals, including the naturally derived ingredients, which are basically the same thing, right? They're still the same molecule, the same chemical, just as bad for the environment in the process and the final product. So that's basically what it's all about the environment, including packaging and everything. So yeah, I've also talked about entrepreneurship at Tec de Monterrey, Campus Puebla. Last semester, I believe I had a lecture there. So yeah, I'm just very passionate about a lot of things. In my free time, I also dance. I did a lot of dancing at ASU. I took all of the ballroom classes and all of the salsa classes. And now I'm a semi-pro salsa dancer and a semi-pro Brazilian samba dancer. Pre-COVID, I got first place in the national samba competition for semi-pro with my group. So yeah, that's me.
Wow. Thank you both very much for those brief introductions. I think what's really awesome is that not just organizations like Si Se Puede Foundation, but if just by myself, like on my own, just seeing you two, like on your free time, you're in ship meetings, Myra, Kata, you're in events at the Si Se Puede Foundation, you're at workshops and all that, and I see you and I think like, wow, that's what I want to do. And if we think of the little kids, I think that's where we have the most impact when they see women, if they see minorities with these engineering degrees, with these that have worked on these projects, that are starting up companies, that are doing this and that for the community. I think that's just so impactful, and it's just a step forward towards having more diversity, more STEM diversity. And I think even if it's just something as simple as education is actually one of the goals for El Concilio is to raise awareness of, how awesome minorities can be. And what really sucks is that even some things that are not taught in school, for example, that I learned, if you've ever seen the movie Hidden Figures, there was the people, I'll reveal who they were, but that were behind I believe this was the first space vehicle to go to the moon, coding all that. They were women of color. And nobody really knows about that because that's not taught. And if people were to be taught of this in early on, at like 3rd grade, imagine how many people could say, hey, this is what I want to be. I didn't know people like me could do this. If people of color, whatever it is, we can do just so many things. And on the long run, the most successful projects, whether it's going out of space or just anything, it's always the most diverse groups. So both of you, Kari and Myra, I'm just so glad that you are both here. And so now that we have an idea of sort of like where you guys are from, what you guys are currently doing, I want to now we can open the floor to sort of like questions, because we want to have people in our audience. You're free to ask questions in whatever you're curious about. Do you need advice on something? And if we'll open the floor for questions. And if people don't have questions, don't worry, because I have a lot. So The floor is now open, so if you want to, you can type them in the chat, you can, whatever it is. Oh, and here we have the first question. So if you want, I can read it out loud. And just to have some sort of structure, we can go with Mayra, you can go first, and then Kari, you can go to second, all right? So from Carolina, we have, as Latina women in STEM, how do you overcome your intersectionality and the prejudice that can come with it in your workspace?
We're starting off with the heavy hitter questions right off the bat. So, yeah, so it is tough being a double minority in a group where you're in. So I am a female and I am Latina, right? So two minorities in a group where I don't see other people like me. So luckily I've had a lot of really good experiences with Honeywell, but I have heard of other people who have had some bad experiences. But one thing that I've noticed is, especially when I was younger in my role, I felt like I wasn't taken seriously in some meetings. And then it's kind of, you think about the fact you're like, am I not being taken seriously because I'm young? So that's another minority, because I'm young, because I'm a woman, or because I'm Latina. So you start, a lot of what I've dealt with as a Latina woman has really been just a lot of self-doubt, right? But I found that the best way to overcome that is to just come super prepared to every meeting, to every presentation. So I'm sure you've heard the quote, work twice as hard as everybody else to get half as far, right? Fortunately, like that is getting better, as Ever mentioned. Like times are changing very, very slowly. But when I talk to a lot of my experiences have been just as a woman, because there are no other older Latina women that I can talk to really at Honeywell. So a lot of the experiences has been of me as a woman. So I've talked to older women and they've just told me about their experiences, and just seeing the contrast of what I'm experiencing and noticing how I'm not dealing with as much of that, the sexism is kind of, is really inspiring, right? People are more open these days, but my biggest advice is just try to be really prepared. Try not to be focusing on your self-doubt. Surround yourself with people who inspire you. So find those really amazing women, those really amazing Latinas. That's actually kind of why I joined SHIP. I wanted to be around other Latinos. I found a lot of really great mentors, and mostly men, but they were also Latinos, so it really helped me out. But it's really, a lot of it is more internalized than externalized these days, at least in my experience. But just networking really helps.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for that. It's a perfect answer. And then Kari, you can go ahead and answer that next.
For me, I feel like you kind of get used to it because, and maybe that's a bad thing because, well, when I was in Mexico City, I was actually going to go to college in Mexico, but I met the Dean of Engineering, and he told me that he didn't like women going into his program because they're just there to find an engineer husband. So after that, and after just thinking about it and about the culture in Mexico, I just decided that I didn't want that to be part of my life while I was studying. So that's when I ventured out to looking elsewhere. And, you know, coming to ASU, I feel like I've experienced a lot less of that than I would have in Mexico, but I still have experienced a lot of it. And not so much from, I don't know how to say it, like, I feel that sometimes with peers, like they don't take you, like Myra was saying, sometimes they don't take you seriously. But I don't know, I'm just very quiet and I just do my work. I prove myself. And then like I leave the talking to whoever, you know? So I would just say, just let anyone talk. It's just ignorance. Just because they don't know you and they just assume something because of something that they see is just, it's not your problem, that's on them. So you just have to like just kind of get used to living with that and take the confidence within you.
Wow. It's pretty impactful how, you know, we know things like this still happen on day-to-day basis. And I think you both should be very proud of the fact that you proved them wrong and you're going against what you've been told, what stereotypes we have built around, whether it's Latino women or both or whatever. And you have been proving that wrong. And so whenever that happens again, if it happens in the future to like what a little girl, they're gonna see you and then they're gonna be like, well, they told me this, but I can see that's clearly not true because I see Myra and I see Kari with engineering degrees, so that's obviously not true. And so bravo to both of you. So I know, Kari, you have to leave like at 5:50, so like in 2 minutes. So, you know, you could just feel free to drop out whenever you have to. And in that case, you know, just thank you very much for coming, Kari.
Yeah.
And we'll just, what were you gonna say something?
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course, of course. Thank you.
I'm gonna leave my email if someone wants to contact me in case they have questions.
That is awesome. That is awesome. All right, so Kari's email will be in the chat for those who have more questions or want to connect with Kari, but we will continue with the questions. And we have one by Alberto. We have, what are some things outside of academics, like grades and classes, etc., that you would suggest we could do to be able to come off as a better candidate for certain programs as we progress in our STEM careers? What do you think, Laura?
Patty, do you want to answer first so that you can get one last question in before you leave?
Oh,
or do you need to leave now?
What was the question? What are some things outside academics? Oh, so something that I didn't consider too much. So I'm a huge introvert. I'm very friendly when I meet people, but I'm very introverted. So I think that something that I would have liked to know early on was that grades don't really matter as much as you think. You need to get out there and meet people. You might be the smartest. You might have a 4.0. You're not getting a job if you don't know someone in that company, very likely, or someone that can somehow connect you. Or if you can't talk to a recruiter, like whatever your credentials are not gonna matter. So maybe that's a little harsh, but I learned it the hard way, guys. But yeah, that's what I would say. And then balance between work, your passions, and your life. I think you just have to prioritize. School is #1 priority to me and my family. Well, in this case, my dog. So like, I'm not gonna leave my dog inside for 10 hours if I don't have to, right? So it's all about priorities. What matters to you? Decide what it is. Make sure you pursue it, and don't allow distractions from your goals. If you don't care much about like your career, like that's okay. Like as long as you're happy, I think, and you know what your priorities are. So yeah, just be yourself. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Kari. You're absolutely wonderful. I hope people could stay in contact with you and do outreach if they have any more questions. You've been absolutely great and you're such an inspiration. So thank you very much for coming, all right?
Thanks for having me. Bye.
And Myra, it is your turn and the spotlight is now on you.
Okay. Yeah, I'll start off with the first question. So what are some things outside of academics that you can do? So one of the biggest pieces of advice that I tell students, because I also recruit for my company, is do anything that's going to make you stand out. Because if you think about it, you're basically in competition with every single one of your classmates. You're all in the same year, you're all taking the same classes, you're all learning the same material. So you need to do something to stand out. And one of the best ways to do that is to join organizations specifically for your major. So when I was in school, there was the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics. It was an aerospace engineering club. So just there's a club for everything on campus. So try to find a club that is like a technical club that you can go in and then start working on projects right away, because your first and second year of college, you're not going to be working on a lot of projects, you're basically just going to be learning math and physics. And another reason to join a club, why it's good, is that you're going to be networking. And as Scotty said, networking is key. You might be able to get a job, but it's so much easier to have the door open for you. And then another good thing that comes out of joining a club, whether it's like a social club or a technical club, is you build a lot of skills that you're not gonna learn in class. So you learn how to talk to people, you learn how to present yourself, you learn how to just how to really market yourself in the different clubs, and then you learn to deal with a variety of different people, because when you go out into the industry, not everybody is going to be like you, so you need to be able to learn how to talk to different people. So I would definitely recommend joining a club. If you have a job outside of school, that also looks really good, because you're building skill sets at a job, even if you're working at a job that's not related to your major. So I know when I recruit, I see a lot of people who are working retail or who are working in the fast food industry. There's so many skills you pick up from those kinds of jobs. You just have to be able to write it on your resume a certain way so that it stands out, right? But yeah, you definitely have to do some stuff outside of class, is what I recommend. Are there any follow-on questions related to that, or I can go into the next question? Joining a club too, you meet a lot of like upper class students, so you can talk to them about exams or classes that they've taken. You can get advice that way. So not only will it help you build networking skills, you're also going to improve your academics, because you're going to learn what's coming in the future classes. But yeah, I'm a huge advocate of clubs. When I was a first year student, I joined like 15 different clubs, and then as you keep going in your career, in your academic career, you start having less and less time. So you can just learn to pick which clubs you really, really like, which ones are really good for you. And then by senior year, I think I ended up with like 4 clubs. So definitely just join as many as you can. Try to network, especially now during virtual season. You can go to a lot of these club meetings and figure out what you like. So definitely go out and explore.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Myra. And I think since usually we end at 6, Naomi, I think this is a good time to wrap up, because we could go on talking forever, given an endless amount of wisdom, but we don't have infinite time. So do you think, Naomi, this is a good time to start wrapping up? What do you think, Naomi? Okay, so that's a yes. So we will begin to wrap up. So Myra, thank you again so much. You as well as Kari, both such inspirations. And so I'm not completely biased just because you're my mentor, but we all look at the things that you do, not just myself, but I have friends that talk about what you do. So you've impacted a lot of people. And again, I want to thank you. And you have put your email here in the chat. So if anyone wants to follow up on you, maybe some questions, since we had a limited amount of time. So you're absolutely awesome. And then even offering to look over resumes, which I know you've helped me quite a lot with that. So, so yeah, you're absolutely a great person. Thank you again. And Naomi, do you have anything to add?
So again, thank you to Evan and Mani and Kani, who put this panel together for us, and shared their experiences as engineers, as Latina women in engineers, and like they said, connections matter. So here today we connected you to 2 engineers here that are willing to share their resources and their experience with you, so you can make those connections and network. And so like she said, like they mentioned, join clubs. Maybe you want to join SHIP, maybe you want to join El Concilio, because again, you'll learn a lot of skills. And so thank you again to Evan and Mani for this career panel. Maybe we'll work together in the future, to talk about STEM diversity and Latinos in engineering. So that wraps up our meeting for today. These last minutes we can we'll have open floor in case anybody wants to share anything, have any announcements for their club that we can share with everybody here. And if not, we can wrap up. And if somebody that couldn't be here today, or you want to look over the meeting again, we will send over the meeting agenda to all of those who attended. And yeah, does everybody have any announcements or questions? Doesn't look like it, but Again, thank you for coming. That wraps up our meeting, and we'll make sure to send the agenda so you can get everybody's contact information if you want to reach out to them. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your Monday and a good rest of your week. Thank you for coming to our meeting.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right. All right, I will now be heading out to the Finance Committee meeting, so I'll see everybody our next e-board meeting.
If you invited anybody, send me their name, because it didn't look like a lot of people invited a lot of people. But if you did and they were here, send me their name and you'll be the winner of the contest.
Can I get the, or can you?
What?
Because a lot of the girls I invited are from our sorority. So I don't know if they get for me or for Eileen.
That's Katie. That's already active. That's active chapter, ma'am.
It is because I was like, you guys get a community 1 hour community service if you go.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I was like 3.
Yeah, just send me their names and if you can send the agenda later today or tomorrow, that'll be fine. And also, since I was recording, I'm going to upload our meeting to, let me actually stop.